World War II, a global conflict that consumed nations and scarred generations. It was a time when the world was engulfed in flames and the very fabric of society was torn apart. Cities were reduced to rubble and countless lives were lost in the chaos. The war left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those who lived through it, a haunting reminder of the fragility of peace. We often imagine this war as a clash of armies, tanks and planes. The thunderous roar of artillery, the deafening sound of fighter planes soaring through the skies, and the relentless advance of tanks across battlefields. These images have become synonymous with World War II, a testament to the sheer scale and intensity of the conflict. But there was another war raging beneath the surface, a hidden struggle fought in the shadows. This was a war of espionage, sabotage, and clandestine operations. It was a battle waged by spies, double agents, and resistance fighters who risked everything to undermine the enemy from within. In the dimly lit rooms of occupied Europe, secrets were exchanged and plans were hatched to strike at the heart of the Nazi war machine. This was the resistance against Hitler's Nazi regime, a desperate fight against tyranny waged by ordinary people who refused to be silenced. These brave men and women from all walks of life came together with a common purpose: to resist oppression and fight for freedom. They operated in the shadows, using whatever means they had at their disposal to disrupt the enemy's plans and provide hope to those living under the yoke of tyranny. In the heart of the Nazi war machine, a group of German officers plotted against their own leader. These were men who had once sworn allegiance to Hitler, but who had come to see the true nature of his regime. They were driven by a sense of duty and a desire to save their country from the path of destruction it was on. They knew the horrors inflicted by the Nazi regime. They had witnessed the atrocities committed in the name of the Third Reich, the systematic extermination of millions of innocent people in concentration camps, and the brutal suppression of any form of dissent. These officers could no longer stand by and watch as their country was consumed by evil. They saw the devastation wrought by war. The once vibrant cities of Europe lay in ruins, their streets filled with the rubble of bombed-out buildings. The human cost of the conflict was staggering, with countless lives lost and families torn apart. The officers knew that if they did not act, the destruction would only continue. These men, bound by duty and conscience, dared to imagine a different future for Germany. They dreamed of a country free from the grip of tyranny, where justice and peace could prevail. It was a vision that seemed almost impossible to achieve, but they were determined to try. Their plan was audacious, their target seemingly invincible: Adolf Hitler. They knew that the only way to change the course of history was to eliminate the man at the center of the Nazi regime. It was a mission fraught with danger, but they believed it was their only hope. This is the story of Operation Valkyrie, a daring attempt to assassinate Adolf Hitler and seize control of the Nazi regime from within. The plot was meticulously planned, with every detail carefully considered. It was a high-stakes gamble, with the fate of millions hanging in the balance. It is a story of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring power of hope in the face of unimaginable darkness. The men and women who took part in Operation Valkyrie knew the risks they were taking, but they were willing to pay the ultimate price for the chance to bring an end to the tyranny that had engulfed their world. Their legacy is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the unyielding desire for freedom. Operation Valkyrie was not initially designed as a tool of assassination. It was in fact a contingency plan crafted by the German High Command. This plan aimed to ensure continuity of government in the event of a major disruption, such as a potential uprising by the millions of forced laborers scattered across Germany. The conspirators recognized the opportunity presented by Operation Valkyrie. They realized they could hijack this existing plan, turning it into a weapon against the very regime it was meant to protect. Their aim was to utilize the framework of Valkyrie to seize control of key government buildings, communication centers, and military installations in Berlin. This would effectively paralyze the Nazi leadership and pave the way for a new government to take control.
At the heart of the conspiracy was Colonel Claus von Stauffenberg, a decorated war hero who had become disillusioned with the war and Hitler's genocidal policies. Despite being severely wounded in combat, losing an eye, a hand and fingers, Stauffenberg remained a charismatic and influential figure within the Wehrmacht.
Alongside Stauffenberg stood other key figures like General Friedrich Olbricht, a high-ranking officer who provided crucial logistical support to the plotters. Ludwig Beck, a retired general who had been an early critic of Hitler's war plans, offered his strategic guidance.
These men were not alone. Their ranks included lawyers, diplomats, and intellectuals, all bound by their shared goal of ending Hitler's reign of terror. At Section 4, the Challenges of Treason. Plotting against a dictator like Adolf Hitler was fraught with danger. The very act of considering treason was a perilous endeavor, one that required immense courage and a willingness to face almost certain death. The Nazi regime was built on a foundation of fear and absolute control, making any form of dissent a direct threat to its existence. The conspirators were surrounded by the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, known for their ruthlessness and efficiency in silencing dissent. The Gestapo's network of informants and spies was vast, and their methods of extracting information were brutal. They operated with impunity, and their reach extended into every corner of German society. Every word uttered against the regime, every suspicious meeting could be their last. The walls had ears and the shadows had eyes. The conspirators had to be meticulous in their planning, ensuring that no detail was overlooked and no one outside their trusted circle was aware of their intentions. Trust became a luxury they could ill afford, as the ever-present threat of betrayal loomed large. Even the closest of friends and family members could not be fully trusted, as the fear of torture and death could compel anyone to betray their comrades. The conspirators lived in a constant state of paranoia, knowing that a single misstep could lead to their undoing. The conspirators faced a moral dilemma as well. They were not only risking their lives, but also grappling with the ethical implications of their actions. They had to reconcile their sense of duty to their country with their desire to overthrow a tyrannical regime. This internal conflict weighed heavily on their minds as they questioned whether their actions were justified. They were sworn to uphold the laws and orders of their nation, yet they were preparing to violate those very oaths. The oaths they had taken were meant to bind them to the Nazi regime, but their conscience and sense of justice compelled them to act against it. This act of defiance was not taken lightly, as it meant turning their backs on everything they had been taught to believe in. They grappled with the weight of their actions, knowing that failure would not only mean their own deaths, but could also lead to brutal reprisals against their families and anyone even remotely associated with the plot. The stakes were incredibly high, and the consequences of failure were dire. The fear of retribution extended beyond themselves, casting a dark shadow over their loved ones and creating an atmosphere of constant dread. Despite these overwhelming challenges, the conspirators pressed on, driven by a deep-seated belief in the necessity of their mission. They knew that the future of their country and the world depended on their success. Their courage and determination in the face of such adversity remain a testament to the human spirit's resilience and the enduring fight for justice and freedom. Section 5. The Shadow of the Gestapo. The Gestapo, Hitler's secret police force, cast a long shadow over Germany. They were the eyes and ears of the Nazi regime, always watching, always listening. Their network of informants was vast, their methods brutal. Even a whisper of dissent could be enough to warrant a visit from the Gestapo, a visit that often ended in imprisonment, torture, or death. The conspirators lived with this constant threat. They knew that any misstep, any loose word could betray their plans and lead to their downfall. They communicated in code, used secret meetings, and relied on trusted couriers to pass messages. The pressure was immense, the stakes incredibly high. Section 6. The plan takes shape. The conspirators knew that killing Hitler would not be enough. They understood that the Nazi regime was not just about one man, but an entire system of power and control that had to be dismantled. They needed to seize control of the government and prevent a Nazi counter-coup. This meant they had to act swiftly and decisively, ensuring that every step of their plan was meticulously executed. Their plan was to use Operation Valkyrie, the existing plan for maintaining order in the event of an internal uprising, to their advantage. Operation Valkyrie was originally designed to protect the Nazi regime from internal threats, but the conspirators saw it as the perfect tool to turn the tables. They would trigger Valkyrie, but instead of using it to quell a fictional rebellion, they would use it to neutralize the Nazi leadership. This required careful coordination and the support of key military and civilian leaders who were sympathetic to their cause. The modified Valkyrie plan called for the assassination of Hitler to be followed by a swift seizure of key government buildings, communication centers, and military installations in Berlin. This was crucial because controlling these locations would allow the conspirators to manage the flow of information and maintain order. This would allow them to control the flow of information and prevent the SS, Hitler's loyal paramilitary force, from mobilizing and crushing the coup. The SS was known for its brutal efficiency and loyalty to Hitler, so neutralizing them was a top priority. The conspirators also planned to use the existing military infrastructure to their advantage, ensuring that they could quickly deploy troops to key locations and maintain control over the city. This plan required not only courage and determination, but also a deep understanding of the Nazi power structure and the ability to exploit its weaknesses. The conspirators knew that their window of opportunity would be brief, and any hesitation or misstep could lead to their downfall. They were prepared to risk everything for the chance to bring an end to Hitler's tyranny and restore peace to Germany and the world.